have an update on new legislation that's coming down the pike, and I want to say right off the bat, this is not passed. It hasn't been voted on. There hasn't been a lot of comment, so this is just slightly more than a rumor at this point. There's been a lot of media coverage, obviously, because it is something that will be very valuable to the American public. So keep an eye on the news media, but do it carefully. Make sure you're listening carefully whether these have been voted on, whether it's been passed, etc. So this is a proposed bill in the House currently. So there's a lot to it, so forgive me, but I'm going to refer to notes here so that I don't misspeak, because it's, like I said, it's not law currently. So this is a bill that is over 1,000 pages long. I think it's closer to 2,000 pages long. So there is a lot of information in this bill, and I don't know that anybody has successfully covered all of it to its entirety at this point. So, and of course, it's all subject to change. So, the HEROES Act is proposing to provide nearly $1 trillion to state and local governments who are using those funds to pay vital workers. So the HEROES Act is, I think, aptly named because it's looking at getting more money and more support to super low income families, and then also to those essential workers who have been working throughout this entire process to keep us safe, keep us healthy, keep food on our table, etc. So that's really what this fund is. It's a $200 billion HEROES fund that is to ensure that essential workers who have risked their lives, quote unquote, working during the pandemic are to receive some sort of hazard pay. I haven't poured through the bill just yet to figure out exactly how they're going to determine the rate of that hazard pay, but it looks like they're just going to increase the hourly rate of those folks to $13 an hour to ensure that they're making the money that they deserve, because they've been working through this crazy pandemic situation and risking their lives every day. So possibly the most important piece of this possible legislation is that they're proposing a new stimulus. So another $1,200 per person, $500 per dependent. They've changed the language a little bit since there was such an uprising with how that dependent child was calculated. So this bill proposes that is any qualified dependent on a tax return is going to be eligible to get you an additional $500. So previously in the CARES Act, it was for dependents 16 years and younger. If you were 17, you didn't get that extra $500 for your dependent caretaker. So that would not be the case with this particular bill. So any qualified dependent, whether that be your college-age child, your mother, your your whoever, if you claim them on your tax return as a qualified dependent, they would add that additional $500. So that's going to be a big deal for people. It also is looking to add an additional $10 billion for the SBA EIDL loan program. So they're not looking at expanding the PPP program at this point, but they are looking at expanding the EIDL loan program. Some of you may have started to receive those loans over the last couple of weeks. Those have really started to come down the pike now that things are starting to move with the SBA applications. So if you have questions about that, I should have a fact sheet up hopefully tomorrow afternoon. If not, definitely over the weekend, about EIDL loan and PPP proceeds and how to go about using those. The bill also extends unemployment benefits. So as most of you know, there is a $600 federal unemployment benefit that has been extended to people. So if you qualify for your state benefit or you don't qualify for your state benefit, you are still eligible to receive that extra $600 per week federal benefit. They're looking to extend the time period where that's offered to people. So that will be interesting to see how Florida handles that, since they're not handling the current funds that they have been given very well at all. But that's a whole other situation. So The one of the other things that people are really struggling with here in Florida right now, mostly because of the lack of a solid unemployment program, is housing and food security. So evictions and all of that are scheduled to restart, I believe, the end of the month now that DeSantis has expanded those. So what the bill is hoping to do is expand those deadlines, but also to increase food security. So that would be an increase in SNAP and EBT benefits. So we'll be looking at those changes. So that's really the quick and dirty of the bill. Again, it's over 1,800 pages. So this 5-minute spiel doesn't even touch on, most of the stuff in the bill. So, but those are kind of the highlights. So if you have questions, comments, or concerns, send them my direction. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Dryden Tax Res. You can send an email over to info@drydentaxres.com, or you can find me on my website. There's a fun chat feature as well, drydentaxres.com.